I think it should go without saying that the original Avatar The Last Airbender is objectively one of the greatest TV shows of all time. The story follows Aang, the next in a very long line of avatars, or people who are essentially just built different. You might as well just hear for yourself what it's about with its iconic opening that does a really good job of explaining the premise.
Water. Earth. Fire. Air. Long ago, the four nations lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Only the Avatar, master of all four elements, could stop them. But when the world needed him most, he vanished. 100 years passed and my brother and I discovered the new Avatar, an airbender named Aang. And although his airbending skills are great, he has a lot to learn before he's ready to save anyone. But I believe Aang can save the world.
Avatar served as an important part of so many people's childhood, and it had that special it factor that lets adults and children enjoy it at the same time. The story didn't babysit young children, and it showed them that a cartoon could explore more mature themes like sexism in bending societies, the effect that war can have on normal people, and the genocide of an entire demographic of people. For most kids and even some adults, that's some heavy shit. Just listen to the way Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, and the Joker himself talks about it.
Fire Lord Ozai. When I read it, I thought, this thing's not going to last because it's too smart. It's too intellectual. It doesn't have the flashbang wallop that seemed to be what was popular at that time. I got a lot of feedback from parents saying that I watched this with my children, and that's the best, when you can be a part of something that appeals to the entire family. Much better than any of us could have imagined, and that was largely due to the writing.
It was a cultural phenomenon the likes of which the world has rarely seen. Avatar had mother in the shower thinking that they were waterbenders for real. Don't lie, you were one of them, and it's okay. Hey, this is a safe space. Watching events like the drill when Azula decided that it was time to try breaking into Ba Sing Se, the impenetrable city, with a gigantic drill was a core memory for me and all the other kids I went to school with. We still have those same conversations today. That's the type of staying power it had. Not to mention the fact that Avatar was actually kind of funny.
We can take them. 3-on-3.
Actually, Toph, there's 4 of us.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't count you. You know, no bending and all.
I can still fight!
Okay, 3-on-3 plus Sokka.
These are the masters.
Still think we can take them?
Shh. I never said that.
Really?
Yes, really.
Well then, what's this?
I don't know! I mean, seriously, what's with you people? I'm blind!
Avatar had the sauce, okay? Those writers were cooking out of their mind in that room, and The Legend of Korra, the story about the next Avatar in line, didn't hit quite the same as the OG Avatar did, but it still stood on business.
Sorry, bro. Who the hell is this? I'm the type of nigga stand on business, nigga. One man arm and getting 50, nigga. What you wanna do that? I stand on business, nigga.
It let us explore concepts like where bending even came from, and what would happen if non-benders got radicalized by a nigga who could take your bending away.
What color's your brigade?
Now you might be saying to yourself, oh man, the Avatar The Last Airbender franchise is in such a good place and is basically immortalized in history. Why would anyone want to mess that up? Well, I got some bad news for you. Netflix just couldn't leave good enough alone, and then they went on to pump out this disappointment of a live action adaptation.
What is that? What the fuck is that?
I'm giving you a warning now. There's going to be a few spoilers from here on out, so if you haven't watched either the original or the live action Avatar The Last Airbender, well, you've been warned. First off, we should have known the live action would turn out like this when Michael DiMartino and Brian Konietzko, the creators of the OG Avatar The Last Airbender, dipped. They saw this bullshit coming a million miles away and decided that they were going to wash their hands of this project entirely. Yet we were still fooled by the admittedly good-looking trailers and seemingly likable cast. Not to mention the fact that the bar for its live-action adaptation was honestly in hell when you take one good look at what we got before this. after seeing that shit, look, I'm no professional, man, but it couldn't have been that hard to make something better than whatever the hell M. Night Shyamalan thought that he was cooking up that day. Even then, any chance of this project going well fell apart for sure the moment the cast opened their mouths. They started spewing out bullshit about making the live action appeal to Game of Thrones fans and that it had to feel more grounded and adult. Oh, and don't forget when they said that they're toning down Sokka's sexism. Like, ain't nobody trying to hear that shit. Who's gonna tell these megacorps that Game of Thrones isn't the blueprint for successful fantasy? And you mean to tell me that people today can't handle Sokka being sexist? His character development from that sexism was a fundamental part of what made Sokka great. And you take that away for what? Maybe if you made him sexist, you could have avoided this verbal vomit we got in its place.
So, how are you protecting your people if you're here?
What? I'm not. I mean, I am. I may not physically be there, but still. That is, I have to save the world first. Sorry, how does it go again? I'm protecting Aang, so I'm protecting the village? Or...
It's almost as if Sokka's sexism was a sturdy plot device used, in part, to set up his relationship with Suki. In fact, as one of the earlier characters in the series, she was directly responsible for nipping that character flaw in the bud. I thought a big part of Suki was, hey, just because I'm a woman doesn't mean I can't kick your ass. Not me woman and me like you, so watch me kick your ass. In the OG Avatar, Sokka was being a bit of an so she put him in his place. But here, you just have her trying to prove to him that she's a capable fighter for no reason. I know it's a common joke that women have absolutely no game, but this was hard to watch. But nah, she was really locked in on Sokka from the start. She never met a young nigga like him, and she was not about to pass up this chance. They even decided that Sokka should deal with being a disappointment to his father instead. His father and uncle were cooking this nigga behind his back, bro. Give this guy a break. Mind you, I was never opposed to changes with a live action adaptation. That sort of thing is just kind of bound to happen, I assume. I just didn't understand why you had to add changes that don't make any sense and clearly make the product worse, not different. Don't give me no bullshit like, excuse me, art is subjective. Cause you know what isn't subjective? Stupidity. Like when Katara challenges Paku, a waterbending master, so he could teach her to waterbend. After he rejected her because of sexism, and as you'd expect, she takes an admirable but definitive L and still gets rejected. Then get this, right? When the Fire Nation attacks, Katara is all of a sudden a waterbending master. This is even addressed by Zuko when he assesses she's found a master. So in response, Katara tells him,
Yes. You're looking at her.
somebody please make this shit make sense. They even let sexism slide with Paku so Katara could have her girl boss gaslight gatekeep queen slay mode. You can't make this shit up. These people at Netflix must have lost their goddamn mind if they thought they were about to just sneak an Azula pity party under our noses like we weren't gonna notice. I've seen a lot of people complaining about Elizabeth Yu, the actress who plays Azula in the live action, and her baby face, and don't get me wrong, I kinda get it, but I really just think she looks more like a 14-year-old girl. What should really have people outraged is the idea of a woman who watched her brother get permanently scarred with a smile on her face being portrayed as some kind of victim. Get that daddy made me do it bullshit out of here. This is the same woman whose mother was perturbed by her existence and how she could be so cruel. This is the same woman who was tight because her friend would rather do what she loved the most and perform in the goddamn circus than be ordered around and manipulated by her. So she lit the safety net on fire and proceeded to make that whole night a living hell for her best friend until she changed her mind. Azula's not a victim, she's a violator. How the hell is she jealous of Zuko allegedly when he's the one who got banished and scarred? Maybe I'd have been able to get over her involvement this early in the story if they didn't try that bullshit. They even tried to keep her out as much as they could, but all they ended up doing was a character assassination of Admiral Zhao, honestly one of the best villains in the entire series, by essentially making him her mouthpiece.
I'm still surprised by Zhao's boldness. I'd have thought it beyond him. It's almost as if he's working with someone else. Someone much smarter.
They even fucked up my boy Zhao too, cause where the hell are the rest of his mutton chops? Beard aside, at least they got the casting right, cause I remember this motherfucker from Rush Hour. Greasy bastard too. I mean the character, not the actor. I have no problem with the actor. Next on the list, there wasn't a single bit of side questing done for book 1. Maybe a little bit here and there, but overall, season 1 was severely streamlined. Any side questing that did get done was kinda off-screened and exposited to us through dive bar lore, if you can believe that.
Waterbenders. Is that right, Milky?
But the Avatar. That's what those pirates said.
No, it wasn't the pirates. It was that canyon guy. He said Avatar fought off some canyon crawlers with the help of a couple of waterbenders.
Some of it worked well, I will admit, but a lot of it did not. For example, why the hell did Avatar Kyoshi have to be the one to warn Aang about an invasion on the Northern Water Tribe? That change really messes with the plot of the whole season. It's one of the biggest plot devices driving them north with haste. I understand that everything Team Avatar did in the original show would be pretty hard to put into just one season of Netflix television, not to mention how expensive it would probably be just to make all that come to life. But why did you even have to do that? You could have just left it at needing to get to the Northern Water Tribe to find a waterbending master. I would think that that'd be pretty important for the Avatar to save the world from the Fire Nation, wouldn't it? I'd have understood, but not agreed with it more if Wang Shi-Tong wasn't added to the season unnecessarily. He had absolutely no business coming to Aang just to tell him, oh, the spirit world is dangerous for humans. Whoop the f***, dude, grass is green and water is wet. Why the hell are you here though? Now you've tied the whole library subplot into it when all you really wanted was to have recognizable fan service to generate interest. Maybe put it in the trailer, I guess. Zhao didn't even learn about taking out the moon spirit from the library. He learned it from the goddamn fire sages. So I ask again, what was the point when you could have just left that part of the story as is? Look, I'm no professional screenwriter, nor do I claim to be, but why in the world was something like that just glossed over? With that being said, I won't pretend like the show is all bad. In fact, it stands head and shoulders above the OG live action. For one thing, Netflix's Avatar looks great. I know I said the bar was low before, but seriously, I mean it. When I first saw the trailer on Reddit, that was the first thing that stood out to me. Some of these establishing shots genuinely gave me pause, and it's clear a lot of effort was put into bringing these fantasy locations to life. The costumes look amazing as well. They're so full of color and life, something that was mostly missing from its live action predecessor that suffered from an era where everything from movies to video games were obsessed with this grayish, lifeless color grading. There's even life in some of the fine details, like Aang's arrow when he goes into the Avatar state. That shit was so tough, it had me convinced that I might be watching a good show. Too bad that wasn't the case. But hey, the bending itself looked pretty good too. I mean, it kind of looked like magic a little too much for comfort, rather than the extension of martial arts it's supposed to be, but maybe that's a nitpick seeing as it's not like the cartoon was doing that 100% of the time either. Although waterbending does look like motherfuckers were just spraying each other with super soakers at times. Changes made to the original product in the right hands with proper guidance and communication from the original creator could make for, nuance or some shit. Changes made from arrogance and the insufferable desire to shake things up for shit and giggles lead to dumpster fires just like this. Tomorrow Studios is the perfect example of this on both sides. They tried making the Cowboy Bebop live action, did so arrogantly, and pumped out the poster child for a poor adaptation so bad Shinichiro Watanabe, the creator of Cowboy Bebop, couldn't bear to watch it, mostly because anything he did say went in one ear and out the other. Instead of doubling down on that, you know what they did differently with One Piece? That's right! They involved Eiichiro Oda, so much so that if he wasn't satisfied, it wouldn't have seen the light of day. Tomorrow Studios learned from their mistakes and gave us the One Piece live action, which was far more successful, not to mention necessary. A friend of mine who not too long ago would have laughed at the idea of watching the One Piece anime, watched that live action adaptation and came away entertained and much more open to actually giving the anime a try. And I'm sure that happened with a few million other people who watched it as well. There was a point to One Piece that doesn't exist with this Avatar adaptation. The kids who watched it on Nickelodeon are adults now, who just rewatch it once a year. Plus, you've already stated that you want it to be more mature and attract Game of Thrones fans or whatever, so f them new kids, right? I just don't get it. But hey, what do I know? Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like on it and subscribe to my channel for more entertaining content. I'll see you in the next one.
La verdad.